Hey, what's up you guys, it's Caboose XBL bringing you another Batman Arkham Knight video, and today what we're going to be talking about is some new gameplay details that were revealed for Batman Arkham Knight. As you know, a little while back, I made a video talking about a bunch of gameplay details that were given to us. It actually got quite a great response, so thank you all for that. But let's get into some of the new gameplay details. These were all shown in the official PlayStation Magazine UK. They did a preview for Arkham Knight, they talked about it and stuff. And basically they had like an interview with Rocksteady and all that stuff, and we got some new gameplay details, and also with that we got a little more information about Oracle's role in Arkham Knight and basically what she is doing, where she is, and how we are meeting up with her and all that stuff. So let's get into this right now. Starting with, you can call the Batmobile Mid Glide by targeting a spot you want it to drive to. So we all know that when you get out of the Batmobile, you can kind of walk around, you can kind of just pretty much leave the Batmobile and just go explore Gotham City. And at any time of your choosing, when you want the Batmobile to come to you, when you want to get in the Batmobile, you can call it to a spot, it will drive to that spot, and you can get into it from there. Now, this is something that you can do mid-glide, and it seems like it would be something really awesome is to when you're getting closer and closer to the ground, you know, when you're in your glide, you call the Batmobile, and right before you hit the ground, you get inside. That would be so freaking cool, and I can't wait to try out something like that when I get the game, and oh man, October is just so far away. But moving on to the rest of these gameplay details, the Batmobile pretty much affects everything you hit in some fashion, not just certain walls. So, you know, cars, I'm sure like debris or whatever, roadblocks and things like that. There's a lot of destructive environments that you can take out with this Batmobile. So that's really cool. I can't wait to see how that works in game, what it looks like. Obviously you can't take down like an entire building unless you can. I mean, who knows? But I doubt that you could, you know. But for the most part, almost all the environment is destructive in its own way when the Batmobile hits something. So that's really freaking cool. Moving on, you can use L2 or LT for Xbox One users mid-glide to use the line launcher. So for those of you who know, you can quickfire gadgets. It is now confirmed that you can quickfire gadgets in midair, so you can use like batarangs, or I believe like even like the bat claw and things like that. And it is now just revealed that using L2 or LT on the Xbox One, you can use the line launcher in midair. Now, speaking of using gadgets in midair, the using of them will cause a slow-mo sequence. So when you're about to use like a batarang in midair and mid-glide or the line launcher, it'll start a slow-motion sequence. This is really good because it seems kind of hectic to try and like maintain your glide, focus on the enemy that you're hitting, and hit the quickfire button to use that certain gadget on the enemy. Like, that seems kind of hectic, but considering that it's going to go into a slow motion sequence beforehand, that's really cool, and that makes things much more calm and easier to do, which is great, and I love that. So moving on to some stuff about the Batmobile. Now the Batmobile, well, we already got some information about the Batmobile just a second ago, but mainly focusing on the Batmobile here for a second. The Batmobile has a boost function. So this is really interesting because I think what would be most useful for this boost function would be for when you're trying to get from one island to the other and just want to get there in a quick amount of time. Because for those of you who don't know, in Arkham Knight, there are 3 islands that are split, you know, in kind of the same way they did in Arkham Origins, where it's 2 main islands and then the bridge that connects them. So it's kind of the same thing in Arkham Knight, and obviously, you know, you're going to use the Batmobile to get from one island to the other. So this would cause much less time to get from one place to the next, and I guess this would kind of eliminate the use of the fast travel system. Maybe the fast travel system will still return, who knows, but it seems the Batmobile will be fast enough to get from one place to another pretty quickly. But with that said, the boost function refuels when you drift around corners. So it doesn't really refuel over time from what I'm seeing here. I can't really tell. But from what I'm seeing, like with this information, your boost doesn't just refuel after a little bit of time. No, you have to do certain things to get your boost back. Kind of like in racing games, the way it works, kind of like that. Like I believe in the Burnout games, you'd have to do things like you have to drift behind people, or, you know, not drift, sorry, draft behind people, and then drift around corners and stuff to regain your boost. So I'm guessing it's going to be the same thing with the Batmobile, which is cool. And last but certainly not least about the gameplay details, Rocksteady will not talk about whether or not you can upgrade the Batmobile. Now, I'm sure you can. I am almost certain you will be able to. And with that said, I can't wait to see what the upgrades are going to be like, how they're going to be like, there's like what the artillery you can get, extra armor and stuff. Because it's one thing that Rocksteady really did well with the Batman games, like Arkham City and Arkham Asylum, is that the upgrades for Batman were actually useful. They weren't just things like, oh yeah, I'll upgrade this, whatever, who cares. No, like you can get certain new moves that help you in the flow of your combat. You can get new gadgets, of course, and new moves with those gadgets, and it's very detailed and very in-depth. So I can't wait to see the way they introduce that with the Batmobile upgrades. But yeah, so moving on to the last thing about Oracle, as I was saying in the beginning of the video, you can visit her like almost any time in the game. You can see her in physical presence, and she will be located in the clock tower. Kind of the way it really is in the comics, which is awesome. I'm really glad that they're doing that. So that's really, really cool. And you can go visit her, and I think she'll have missions for you and stuff. And what's really cool is when you're in the clock tower, you can hear stuff going on outside. So it's not like when you go into a building and then everything else on the outside world is stopped and time is frozen on the outside world. No, things will still go in continuity whether you're in a building or not. So that is really, really interesting and really freaking cool. You'll hear, like, apparently from what they're explaining, you'll hear like faint gunshots from time to time if like riots start and things like that. So that is really cool, and I can't wait to see the way that works in game. Speaking of going in buildings and stuff, almost like all the buildings, when you look inside a window to that building, you'll see what's inside. It won't be like that cheesy little design where it's just kind of like all mud looking, and it's just like a terrible paint or something on a window. You'll see like inside that window, and you'll see all the detail in each building, and that is freaking cool. And that is, again, one of the extended reasons why I can't say enough that this game deserves to be a next-gen only platform game. The Xbox 360, the PlayStation 3 wouldn't be able to do any of this at all, ever. They can't withstand, they can't go to this capacity, and that's why I'm really glad that this game is going to be on the next gen. Not just because I have a next gen console, but because this will push the game to its limits, and it will make it the definitive Batman game that we've been waiting for since the release of Arkham Asylum, But with that said, what are your thoughts on all this in terms of the Batmobile details, the gameplay details with the Quickfire Gadgets in midair, the details about Oracle and her role and things like that? I want to hear them all in the comments below. I'm CaboosXBL. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. See you guys later.